draping. So I go straight to the dress form. Now, here with my design, we realize that it crosses from one side to the other side of the design of the figure. So I'm going to prepare my marking lines on the dress form to get it ready for the draping. So with my tape, there's a special tape for that, which you can get on the market. I'm going to prepare the form by starting with one side there. So from the sketch, it goes all over, okay, under the bust, like that, shoulder, hand. That is the first participant. So I take all the way to the side of the form. This is going to guide me as I drape. Then do same for the other side. Now, my dress has both front and back, so I'm also going to turn the back, okay, and with the back also prepare the form according to the design. So my back also falls a bit deeper. So I determine how deep I want it to the center back. And same over there. So with this, I am done with the dress form. My tape is coming. Okay. So once I get it done, my dress form is ready for my draping. Now I go to get my fabric, and based on the size, I look at the size of the form, and I'm going to cut my fabric to that to guide me to cut my fabric. So I can easily measure. Since I'm going to work from one end to the other, I can measure across from there over there. So whatever measurement it gives me, I can add some to it because I need excess to help me as I drape. So I take my measurement from there and then also take the measurements all the way to the waist because my dress is joined at the waist. That will also help me to get the actual length. So with that, I'll now move the cutting table to cut my fabric. So that's a piece. Now, one important thing you also ought to know is the grain of the fabric, which is very, very important when it comes to the art of draping. The fabric possesses three main grains. We have the straight grain, which is parallel with the selvage of the fabric. Then we have the cross grain, which cuts across the selvage. And then the third grain is the bias grain, which is 45 degrees to the selvage of the fabric. Now, in draping, the grain is very, very important because the fabric stretches differently at different grains. For example, when you take the bias grain, it stretches more than the straight grain. And the straight grain also stretches more than the cross grain. So you ought to always know your grain depending on the design you are going to work with. With what I have, working on the bias grain will help better. So I'll take that into consideration once I cut my fabric. So I lay down my fabric and cut a piece. That will be enough to drape. Like I said, here I'm going to work on the bias grain, okay, to help with my design. So I'm going to start from one side and pin down. So I get the neckline. I pin all the way to the side just to hold my fabric in place. That is it. With my design, I have a few pleats or ease in the shoulders. So I'm going to create those ease by folding along and pinning down. So I fold along and pin. A few ease over there. So I pin it there like that to have my ease. So you can see because I have rightly chosen the right grade, my folds and pleats are falling rightly down effectively. I'm not forcing the fabric. The fabric itself is draping down as I wish. Then I will now come to the side to draw it to the side a bit so that it can give me the side seam. So I'm going to pin the side seam also. You don't pull the fabric. You allow it, you may stretch it slightly so that it lies down, but you don't pull it. You drag it slightly, but you don't pull it. Okay. So I want to get my side pin to the side. Then I come to the other side, also here, going to pin the side then. I drag through to make sure there are no folds. So I'm almost done with the first part. It's ending at the waistline. So that is my dress form waistline. I also pin the waistline. Drag, there's a bit of fold here. So I need to come back, take my pin, and make sure I drag that fold out. Okay. Whenever there is a fold, as you work along, you can still come back and correct yourself to drag out the excess fold in, in the fabric. And as you go along where it requires you cutting, you can also cut. So I go back. That's it. So I'm almost done with the first part. Now I'm going to cut off the excess because I don't need all this excess from the waistline. So cut it off. Basically, I'm done with the first part. Okay. It's a sleeveless garment. So I need the armhole. This is where my either my marker or my chalk is going to help me out. So let me use this color, which is more visible. So depending on the weight I want in the shoulder, I'm going to measure it. This can I have a tape measure? So how wide is the shoulder? So my shoulder width is 2 inches. So I mark it and then I mark down the armhole of the garment like that. I mark it and then mark along also the side seam because when stitching is going to help us. So I mark my side seam, come to this other side also and mark my side seam. And then also mark my waist line. So that finishes with the first part. Whatever excesses that are around, I can cut. Okay. So now I'm also going to work on the second part, which crosses from the left shoulder to the other side. Okay. So I'm going to cut also another piece. just use it. Whatever is left, I'll just cut it off. So this time around, also on the bias, I'm going to take it from the shoulder all the way to the side. Okay. So I first pin the shoulder down. And then all the way to this side, to the side like that. Hope we can see it. So you can already see that our garment is coming out. Okay. So just as we had a few pleats on the other side in the shoulder, we are also going to create our ease of pleats also there by folding, taking a pinch, you fold, and then you pin it in position. Okay. The number of pleats or folds we require. Just hold a pinch and fold. So you can actually see how my folds are gracefully falling or draping on the figure. Let me add the last fold over there. So nicely draped down. Now from the sketch also we can see there's a bit of ease or bits on this other side. So now I'll come to that side and also begin with my folding. I hope you can see it. So let me raise this side a bit up a bit there. This side.
Okay. I think they said the sketch is not visible. So let me bring you closer.
Now I'm going to have my ease over here by folding.
It's also thinking.
Okay. Also, just like we did at the shoulder, you hold a pinch and drag it to fold a few pleats and pin it down. Every fold you do, you pin it down. Add a bit more folds. You hold a pinch and then you fold it to the side. So that works out the folds that we have on the other side created.
So that's the first.
I'm going to cut off some excess down here that I may not need. So let me just cut it out. I'm going to drag this to the side and pin it at the side seam. So drag out. Make sure I take out any excess. Now this over.
Okay. So as Reverend Michael is working, somebody asked that they want to see the back of the design. Previously, he stated that there's the front and there's the back of the design. So the front is the one we are working on currently. That's it.
So to this point, I'm also going to mark my waistline over here because I need the top up to the waistline. The garment is joined from the waist down. So that is my waistline. I mark and then cut off the excess. All right. So just as we did mark the armhole on the other side, so are we also going to mark the armhole and the shoulder for this side. If I remember very well, we use 2 inches. So I come here, measure my 2 inches. That is the width of the shoulder piece. Okay. And then from there, I draw in my armhole, which I'll be cutting the excess off. Mark my shoulder line. There also mark my shoulder line. So now I can cut the excess off, leaving some allowance. That will be the stitching allowance if you have to sew. So once I mark, I leave out some allowance for stitching. Because
So
we need
Reverend,
a
how
stitching
many
allowance.
inches of allowance should we leave?
So you can leave normally between half to 3/4 an inch, depending on the area. For example, around the armhole, you can leave half an inch, but a place like the zip area, you can leave 3/4 or an inch as your allowance. And then the side seam also, you can do it 3/4 or more if you wish.
Okay.
All right. So that basically that's it for the other side of the front. So our front is completed. Now the next is going to be the back. Okay.
So now that's the back, the design that you're going to look at. This one.
The back doesn't have any design details as the front. So with the back, let me first get it fixed. So that is the back. So that one also, I take a piece. This time around, because it is not on bias, there are no effects. I also check my grain. And yes, I need to check my grain. I start by folding at the center back, like that. I'm going to fold about an inch in, which is going to serve as my zipper extension. And then right from there, I'm going to pin. Someone will ask, why is it that the neckline is over here, but I'm starting all the way from the top? Because I'll need some excess. It goes all the way into the shoulder, so that I'll have some fabric there for the shoulder seam. So if I start it down here, I will short in the shoulder. That is how come I'm going up, all the way up there. So I take it like that. And with the back, I'm going to just work on one side because it's a symmetrical design. Okay. It's a symmetrical design. So I can just work on one half of the back. And when I cut two of it, it's going to work for the other side of the back. So I start by pinning it from the center back. All the way to the waist. Then now come here, draw it up and pin it down to hold it for the time being. I'm now going to draw it towards the shoulder and pin it down. So I want to cut a bit off. First, let me cut a bit off from here so that I can actually get it. All right. Now, I'm now going to drape towards the side seam by dragging it to the side. Make sure I drag it for it to be smooth.
So mind you, he said we shouldn't stretch the fabric, but we are dragging it to smoothen it, not to stretch it.
Don't stretch it, don't pull.
Yeah, don't.
The word is don't pull.
There's a difference between that.
Okay. So as soon as I drag it slightly there, getting everything in position. I will now come to mark my neckline. That's why I place the tape
So
there
that's
to
the
guide me. So that's the neckline, which is from there all the way down with my chalk. I mark my neckline. This is it. So I mark it there. And then come to the shoulder also. I'm going to take off the excess from the side here first to reduce it. So once it's done, drag it out. I'm going to mark the armhole and the shoulder line, just as I did for the front. So we use a shoulder width of 2 inches. So from the neckline, I'm going to mark my 2 inches into the shoulder. And mark my shoulder line. Pin it down. And then also draw out my armhole as low and deep as I require, depending on my style. So I come out with my armhole. Then I mark out my side seam like I did for the front. And then mark out my waistline. So this is also the back. Okay, this is the back pattern. And like I said from the beginning, because the back is symmetrical on the same on both sides, I can work on just one side because I'm now preparing the patterns. During the cutting, I'll cut two for the actual garment. Now, I'm going to try to pin together the front and one side of the back. So just there, I'm going to fold my excess just to see how my outcome will look like if I'm to stitch. If I'm to stitch the garment, how the outcome of the garment will look like. Whether whatever I've done is similar to the sketch I have. So here I'm going to fold along the seam line and pin it. That's the shoulder. So I am folding and pinning at the shoulders. Okay. Now, here, my neckline is drawn. I'm going to cut, leaving some excess, about half an inch for seam neckline finishing when joining. So if it's maybe a facing that I'll use to turn the neckline, that's where I'll attach the facing to. So I don't cut exactly on the mark line, but I leave some excess. That serves as my seam allowance. So now let's go. Let me hold it somewhere here. So you can now see the back neckline showing out. Let me cut the excess also in the waist. So what I'm going to do is to try to join the side seam. Okay, let's see the outcome. So I'll just take out this and then fold along my side seam in a way as if my garment has been stitched. So I'm going to cut a bit more my side seam for the front there. Let me first mark the side seam. Then we realize that the excess I have there is too much. So I'm going to cut some off as the side seam allowance. Okay, and get that off. Then I'm going to fold along the side seam allowance here, just to make it appear as if the garment has been stitched. Okay, and we want to see the outcome.
Another, I mean,
So I fold along the side seam. So I fold along the side seam, so you can see how my seam is going to look like. Let me cut off a bit excess in the armhole. So basically, this is how my side is going to be joined if I'm stitching. But I'll just use pins to hold it to know whether whatever I'm doing is working out. Then I can match the waistline, both for the front and the back. You can see that my waistline at the back has dropped. So I'll now get it there, matching to the front like that on the side. So if we take a look at it, this is how our dress looks at the side. From the back, one side of the back, all the way to the front. Okay, that's it. Just also open and into the armhole. Okay. So basically, if I should have worked the other side, would have it just like this side to the back. But because I'm dealing with a pattern, in pattern where the design is symmetrical, we don't do both sides. We just work on one side, which will be replicated for the other side during cutting. So, but with the front, because it was of two different designs, which we refer to as asymmetric, okay, I have to do for both sides. And once that is done, the next bit of the design is the lower bit that joins,
That's it.
yeah, in the form of a bias skirt. So with that one also, I'll take my fabric. Let me just wrap it around. Just slice it into two.
Okay, so somebody said that from the illustration, you saw some pleats. The pleats have been done over here. Please, the camera, if you can see. Yeah. So, Mr. Michael, they're asking of the name of the fabric.
The fabric. Okay. The fabric I'm using is I would say it's an expandable fabric. It's expanded fabric that has a bit of stretch in it. We call it spandex. Okay. Or you could also use, you could use any other fabric, depending on the design you're actually working on. Okay. So I'm now going to also work on the lower base, which also comes in a bias form. So that will go round like that. Yeah. So I need my fabric on bias. So let me just wrap it around. Depending on the length. This is too low. So I pin it on the side and come to the other side. Release it a bit because it flares down. Whilst it goes down, the style flares. So I'll release a bit. Next time not to drag it so much. So basically, that is the my waist seam. And now what I'm going to do is to cut off the excess and then get the actual length also. Okay. Now, whatever the length is, I'm going to mark it down. Okay, let me see it from here. First, to get off some excess. So basically, that is the font. I will still work on it to get the actual length. You can still measure whilst you work. And also with that, I'm going to mark the side seam also for the lower part. I feel the side seam on the dress form, so you follow it to mark. So that gives you dress. All right. So basically, this is how the draping process goes. And so you can actually see that whatever sketch we have over there is what we have created. Okay. So once this is done, the next stage will be that we'll take them off from the dress form and we'll go and trace whatever we have gotten onto the paper, the pattern paper, and that will be used as our patterns for stitching the actual garment. So this is the draping process and how it takes place and what goes on step by step to achieve whatever designs that you want. So this will bring us to the end of today's class on draping. We'll give time for questions. So whatever questions you have, what you didn't understand or what you need clarity on, we can discuss it.
Okay. So
Is there?
thank you, Mr. Michael. We are not gone yet. As he said, we'll give space for the question and answer. This is a basic design that he has just taught you, a simple one. But based on whatever he has taught you, you can now add on it. And different fabrics can also be used to bring out all the designs that you can ever think of to be done. So we also could give room for the admission team to also speak to you before we come back to the question and answers.
So no, yeah, me, me.
Can we have Miss Henrietta and Miss Monica to continue with us, please?
Okay, hi Monica, we can hardly hear you. Can you hear us? Hello, Monica, can you hear us? Okay, Miss Agnes, I think Monica has a technical challenge. Maybe we can start with the Q&A, and when that is resolved, she'll come back in.
Okay, so we will take our questions.
Sure.
So can we have the first question?
All right, okay. So I think there was a question on the fabric type, but I see that it was answered by Mr. Michael. But for those who were not in when he answered that question, maybe Mr. Michael, you can tell us what fabric he used.
Oh, okay. What I use is a expanded fabric. It has a bit of stretch, spandex. We refer to them as spandex, fabrics that has any stretch. You can have cotton with a bit of stretch. You can have silk with a bit of stretch. But not necessarily always should you use a fabric with stretch. You can also use any other fabric for your draping. You can use any other fabric, whether it being cotton, silk, wool, any other fabric also can be used for draping.
Okay. Somebody wants to know if they will get access to the recorded tutorial. Yes, you will. After this session, we would upload it on YouTube. And so when you go to BlueCrest College on YouTube, you will have access to the tutorial that just happened. Okay. All right. Someone also wanted, okay, name of fabric was, do you offer online courses in fashion and design? So no, we don't offer online courses in fashion and design. The nature of the course we teach in the department is very practical. And so they are all in person because we want you to have a feel of what it is, of what fashion is about. And you need to have the skills at your fingertips. So unfortunately, at the moment, our programs are all in person. Pleats from the illustration, I thought there are some pleats from one shoulder through to the side seam. I think Miss Agnes and Mr. Michael, this is to you.
Yes, you can see from this side, it runs all towards the shoulder. You can see some of the folds goes towards the shoulder. And you can still see some of the pleats on the side and others on the shoulder. That's how it is.
Okay. The next question is, why is the fabric always folded a bit diagonally before using, please?
The reason being that, like I said, in draping, one important thing you always ought to know is the grain of the fabric. Okay. When you position it in the bias form, we have three grains. We have the straight grain, the cross grain, and then the bias grain. The bias grain tends to give us more stretch and makes the fabric relax more. So during draping, most of the time we use that aspect because the body has some contours. When you use it on the bias, it allows you to stretch and to lie better, but not always do we use the bias. We can also use the straight grain as well.
Okay. Can I please see the back view of the dress?
So yes, we can see one side of the back. Like we said, because it's a symmetric design, the back looks same on both sides, both left and right side. In draping and pattern making, we make one side, and then as we go to cut our patterns, we'll cut it to reflect the other side.
Okay. Can that be added?
Yes, that can be added. If it is in your design, you can also add that. You can also add that during draping.
Okay. All right. Location of the fashion school. So we are located at Kokomlemle, very close to Circle Dubai, if you are very familiar with Accra. If you are not in Accra, Ghana, then we are located in Ghana, and you can find us through Google Maps. You can also call us or WhatsApp us on our numbers that is in the chat box for assistance or directions. Okay. Is there any question? In case the neckline is very deep, how do you contour?
If the neckline is very deep, you still contour based on the way you adjust your fabric. When you put it in bias, it allows you to drape it down. If it is loose in the form of a cowl neck also, you can still go ahead and drape it. Whatever design you have, you just have to understand the structure of the fabric you are using. And based on that, it gives you the opportunity to work it out the way you want the design to come out.
Okay, and I'd like to add that if you're looking for more information and have knowledge on how all of these are done, then you would need to enroll into our School of Fashion. Mr. Michael is our lead trainer, and he can give you more in total information and give you the right skills you need to come out as a very good fashion designer. So this is the time where you have to enroll now. Our March admissions is ongoing. It would end very soon. So please do either for our certificate program, which is a 6 months program, our diploma program, which is a 2 years program, or our degree program. You would have access to Mr. Michael and all the other trainers, including Miss Agnes herself, the head of department, for all the skills and then the knowledge you need to come out as a good fashion designer, right? So this is what I also have to add on to. Another question is, what is the importance of draping before sewing to freehand cutting tools? I'm not sure I'm clear on this, but Mr. Michael, that's your specialty. I'm sure you probably have
Okay.
an idea of what a draping
I'm
is.
sure she wants to find out of what benefits is draping as compared to cutting with the freehand.
Okay, so now cutting with the freehand, you put your fabrics down, you are cutting. Your idea is that when you go and sew, this is what I will get. Okay, so actually you don't have a visual idea of the outcome when you do your freehand cutting, but you are hoping that when I put it under the machine, join the pieces, this is the outcome I'm going to get. But with the draping, you actually see the outcome of the garment. Wherever you need to make adjustments, you make them before even going to put the pieces under the machine to stitch. So these are the two differences and the advantage of the draping as to that of the freehand cutting, because you may have some adjustments that you ought to have done that the dress may not fit well. At times, even you can get your design out right, but the dress may not fit well, where you need to hold some small adjustments. But because you have already done cutting and stitching, it becomes difficult for you to rectify that mistakes or correct or do those corrections. So that is the difference.
Even for me, I'm learning so much today. So the next question is, how do you transfer a draped piece into a flat pattern?
Okay, so like I rightly said, all that we have done here, you could see my chalk markings also on them. When it is done, I'll pick it, take them out from the dress form, go and put it on a paper, on a large table, and trace it out. So after tracing it out, that will now work as my pattern for the design. That is how you achieve your patterns out of the draping.
All right, okay. Someone wants to know the fees for the 6 months program. So our admissions team, if they are ready, maybe they can. Monica, are you available now to give us information on admissions? Then we can go back into the Q&A. There's a lot of questions here.
Yes, most of the
Okay, great.
Okay,
All right, so we
thank
are
you very much.
all ears.
Okay, so thank you very much, Ms. Agnes and Mr. Michael, for the insightful presentations. Good morning, everyone. My name is Monica Smith, and I serve as an admissions counselor here at BlueCrest University. I'll be taking you through the admission requirements and why you should study at BlueCrest University. Okay, so why study fashion at BlueCrest University? With BlueCrest University, we equip our students with the opportunities in entrepreneurship. So once you are done with the training, you know that you can start your own business. You don't have to look for jobs, apply for jobs and all that. So with that one, you know that once you are able to join BlueCrest University, you can start your own business. You can turn your creativity into a profitable business. Okay, so with the curriculum, our curriculum is industry focused. It's a balanced theory and practical training. So basically, with BlueCrest School of Fashion Design, the practicals are more intensive than the theory. So you are learning English, you are learning French, but you're also learning more of pattern making, garment construction, designs, and so forth and so on. So what will you be learning at BlueCrest University once you are able to join us? We do pattern drafting, garment construction, textile studies. So with the textile studies, you're doing something like tie and dye. You're teaching you how to make a tie and dye. You're teaching you how to make a lace, a kente, and other materials. And then we also teach you how to market your products and brand yourself. So with BlueCrest University, we have facilities like a sewing lab. It can contain up to 50 students per class, hands-on projects. So we do a lot of projects, a lot of practicals. You're doing something like fascinators. You're doing like something like bridal fans, corsetry, suits. Okay, sorry. So you're doing something like bridal fans, corsetry, suits, and so on and so forth. Okay, so the career opportunities involved in you becoming a fashion designer. You can be a creative director, a fashion entrepreneur, brand manager, a stylist, a content creator, So the admissions requirement with the diploma and then the degree, you are supposed to be a WASI graduate, and you are supposed to have A156 in 6 courses, so math, science, English, and Korea dialect.
Hi, Monica.
Hi.
Can you hear us?
I
Hi,
think she's
Monica.
having a challenge with the network.
I think that her network is challenging. Okay. So let's just go back to our Q&A and we'll bring back Monica again. Okay. But so the next question is, at what stage should a designer choose draping over flat pattern drafting for a design?
Okay. Some designs may entail some intricate works to be done. So, for example, let's say if you are working on bridal evening gowns, that requires a bit more details, and then playing around with fabric, then you best use the draping, because with that one, you can actually see the outcome. You can actually see your outcome more than the flat pattern. So complicated designs that requires playing out with your fabric, most of the time it will be best to use the draping techniques.
Okay. In case I think we've answered this already. Let me see. How about I want to sew the draped fabric? Do I still need a pattern?
Or if you want to use the fashion fabric straightforward, you can do that, but you should be well advanced and be sure of your techniques in terms of draping, because you can do it using the fashion fabric straightforward. You may not need the patterns.
Can draping be done only on a dummy?
Yes, because the dummy is made in a way that it has a texture that allows you to pin, to fix your pins. Okay. But some mannequins, like mannequins are so firm, pins cannot go through. And you can also not do on the live model. You may try it, but it's a bit difficult because it also takes time. So the best way to do it is on the dummy or the dress form.
Okay. When does a designer choose draping over flat pattern drafting?
I think we've answered
I
that
think I've
question
answered
already.
that.
You've answered that already. Okay. I think we've answered. Please, what if the measurement of your client isn't equal to the size of the mannequin? How do you adjust it?
Okay. So using the dress form, there are ways of adjusting the size. We can use parts. What I mean here is the shoulder part, the cap, the bust cap, and others to increase the size of the dummy before the draping is done.
Okay. I guess this is the last question. That what's the difference between draping and fabric manipulation?
Okay. Now, the difference here is when we talk about fabric manipulation, that is a creative use of fabrics, playing around with fabrics for a creative effect. So, for example, in terms of that, you can even use a machine to stitch like we have what do you call it? Tax. Tax is a form of fabric manipulation. Some of the time also, it's a systematic way of marking the fabrics and picking them around and putting them together in a way to get a specific effect and outcome. But draping is basically meant to develop patterns for the garments. It's basically meant to develop patterns for the garments. And where you have some intricate designs, you can also use it to help out. Where maybe going around to do a pattern, you are not so sure of getting the actual drape that you want, then you go ahead with the draping. So that is the difference.
All right. I think that we have answered all the questions. At this point, we would allow you to ask your questions directly. Just raise your hands and then we'll unmute you and then you can ask your questions directly. We aim to end this session in the next 5 minutes, so we can take some few questions if there are any. Okay, I see Abigail. Okay, Abigail, you can ask your question.
Thank you. Please, my question is, the fashion fabric that is used to drape, if I transfer it to my patterns, does it go waste?
Okay, so if you are going to develop patterns out of the draping you are doing, then there is no need for you to use the fashion fabric. You could as well go for a cheaper fabric, a cheaper version of the fabric you want to use. Now, one trick also in draping is whatever fabric you are going to use, fashion fabric, should also possess the fabric you use for your draping should possess same qualities and characteristics of the fashion fabric. But to answer your question, there is no need using the fashion fabric. Get something that is cheaper but has similar characteristics of your fashion fabric. Abigail, does that answer your question?
Abigail, have you been answered? Okay, I want to believe she's been answered. If you have any question, you can raise your hand and then we can answer them. In the meantime, Monica has information on admission requirements. What credits or what grades do you need to be able to apply to the School of Fashion and Design with BlueCrest College? So Monica, I think we can hear you now.
Okay, Mr. Rita, thank you very much. Please, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so with the requirements for the diploma in fashion and degree in fashion, diploma is 5 passes, which is 2 core and then 3 electives. You math, science, and either English or social, and then 3 other electives. And then for the degree program, we need 6 passes for math, science, and English. At least you are supposed to have A1 to C6, and then 3 other electives as well. For the certificate program, there's no requirement. All you have to do is to present a copy of your birth certificate and a passport picture together with an application form, of which you would purchase here at the admissions department for 100 Ghana cedis.
Okay. And someone wants to know if you already have a diploma in fashion and you want to enroll into the degree program, do you need to have any qualification?
Yes, please. So you're supposed to have a copy of your transcripts from student service, and you would purchase an application form for 200 Ghana cedis, which would allow us to work on the admission letter, and then you can proceed to do your top-up.
Okay, great. And also about the event management program, how about that if you want to apply?
Okay, so basically for the event management program, it's a 3-month course, of which you'll be doing the first month theoretical, where you are taught event planning, event management, and so on and so forth. And the second and third is the practical bit, where you are taught centerpieces, backdrops, how to style a venue, how to set a table and all that. For that one, the class is once in a week, and the tuition is 3,600 for 3 months. You pay 60% before you join the class, and then you spread the 40 throughout the 3 months. Also with that one, there are no requirements. So once you're able to purchase the application form for 100 Ghana cedis, with a copy of your birth certificate and then a passport picture, which will allow us to work on the admission letter, and then you can proceed to join the class.
Okay, great. So Felicia says I'm a nurse and I want to join the school for event management. So Felicia, you would have to contact Monica. Monica has left her number in the chat box, but you can also reach out to us to our official WhatsApp or call number for her to assist you with the event management class. And Monica, when is admissions going to end? So they know the time frame they have to make a decision.
Okay, so admissions will be ending of March. Once you are able to book a seat, you book a seat by paying a commitment fee, which is a 60%. Basically, yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Another question is, if you are already a student in diploma, you want to continue into degree. Yes, so you will need your transcript from the diploma program, and that is what you will need to start the degree program. So do share your transcript with us, and then we can assist you to enroll into the degree program. I guess there are no more hands up, right? So it means that Mr. Michael and Miss Agnes have done an amazing job today, right? Can we all give them a clap? I know that this is a webinar, but you can give a thumbs up. Go to your emoji and let's give them a thumbs up. Let's see a lot of thumbs up flowing. Yes. Right. Let's give them love. Let's give them thumbs up to show our appreciation for today's session. Right. Great. For those who are trying to find where your thumbs up are in order, go to react and then you see it. So let's show them a lot of love for today's session. Thank you so much. We want to say
just a taste of it. We'll give you more.
yes.
So
I'm very sure we'll do that. So Madam Agnes, we'll give the last word to you and Mr. Michael. Maybe there's some last thing you want to add on before we end today's session.
Okay, I can see you really love this session, and you try and give you more session as time goes on. But if you really want to enjoy everything that we do in BlueCrest, then there's an opportunity to just sign up. So you can see the numbers over there. Just take it and then apply. And as I told you, we are giving you a free gift. That's just come in. The form we are going to give it to you for free because this is our 10th year anniversary and we want to make you feel good. So when you come in, just mention that our 10th anniversary package for you, free admission form, and then we might even give you discounts. So just come in and then you will really love it. Thank you. Reverend Michael will also have something to say. So
okay. So for me, what I would say is if you are interested in fashion in any way or any form, then the right place to come is BlueCrest, where we'll give you the best of tutorials in fashion. Now, you should also know that not just becoming a fashion designer, but as you come to BlueCrest, you come to understand that there are a lot of and many more career opportunities that are available for you as you enter into the fashion world. There are a lot more. So I will encourage you, if you have the opportunity, take it up and you will really enjoy it and you will learn a lot. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Michael, Reverend Michael, and Miss Agnes for this amazing session. It's been insightful, even for me being part of the school. Every time I sit in any of the webinars, I learn so many things, and I'm sure our participants today have also learned a lot. So like Madam Agnes said, this is just the first step. There are so many webinars that we have planned that are going to be coming to you soon. So if you don't follow our social media pages, do follow them. That's where we push these ads so that you can register. And then also for those interested in applying in any of our programs, that is the 4-year degree program, the 2-year diploma in fashion, or the 6 months fashion program, or our event management course, you can reach out to us Monica's number is in the chat box so that she assists you on how to apply. Readily, as Miss Agnes said, for anybody who joined the webinar today, is a free forms. So we've taken note of all the registrations that happen. If you're enrolling, you get the forms for free. And this is our thank you gift for joining the webinar, and also to celebrate or join us in celebrating our 10-year anniversary as a School of Fashion. The School of Fashion gives you the practical skills you need. Many of our students do come in thinking they are just going to end up in, just sewing, but they end up learning more. They get to know there's more to fashion design than just sitting behind the machine and sewing, the illustration bit and all that. And then they find their specialty. They realize that it's not even in the garment construction part, but then there are others. There are some of them who are styling big celebrities today just because of their knowledge in fashion. So I would urge you all to make up your mind now. You have just about a month and then we'll close admission. So if you have not decided, this is the time to do so. If you also need more information, please reach out to us and we'll be able to assist you. Now, there are a few of you who also know somebody or know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who wants to apply or is considering entering into the School of Fashion. What I like to say that we have a package for prospects or family and friends of prospects. And that's what we call turn your network into rewards. So do you know a friend, a colleague, or a contact that you can refer them to the BlueCrest School of Fashion? Then you can do that and you can earn some cash for us to say thank you very much for being a proud ambassador of the BlueCrest. How does this work? Or what happens if I refer this person? So first of all, you refer these prospective students to BlueCrest. This friend enrolls, and then you receive a cash reward. You receive a reward of $50 if the person who has enrolled is a foreign student. If the person is not a foreign student, but a Ghanaian, you earn a reward of 200 cedis. So also reach out to us about our 10-year network into rewards program or package, right? So the more students you refer, the more you earn. Thank you so much for today's webinar. Unfortunately, we cannot continue as we are time constrained, and do reach out to us. The recording will be on our YouTube channel. Just go to YouTube and then search for BlueCrest College, and then you can have access to the video and then you can watch it. I want to say thank you to everybody who joined us today. We thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be part of this 1.5 hour session. Look out for the next webinar on our social media pages. I want to say have a lovely Tuesday and amazing rest of the week. Bye-bye from BlueCrest.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, 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 bye.